Can you hear us?
Yay. Hi, Paul.
Woohoo.
Oh, which camera?
Happy New Year.
New phone, who this?
Use the new.
On who did?
Which one has the green dot? That one there.
Why isn't it showing up?
Moon, stars, cosmic rays.
He's back there.
Look at your view
He's back there.
up in the upper right,
Oh, maybe I haven't, yeah.
gallery. Oh, it should be everybody. Where?
Yeah, why aren't we seeing?
Yeah, we've got a minute. All I know is I was very grateful when I walked into this room and felt the heat was on.
Yeah, no, it's been chilly.
It was below 40 when I was driving here.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it was Eugene, but it sleeted in the South Hills of Eugene today.
Nice. Ready for the
Every once in a while, he uses keywords and that's what.
Planning Commission? I just picked someone to
Blame
plan.
everything on this.
board.
Well, I don't know. That's what happened last time. They disconnected the cable.
Goddamn Rockwood Water Bureau.
No, disconnected.
Like, just picked a random thing.
There it is. Yeah, I'm ready for some winter weather mist.
Like,
Spring and snow and so.
Right, I guess I haven't either.
No.
Is happening.
Go back up to view for a minute. No.
That was my thought.
What happens if you click the caret next to YouTube? On the top,
Oh, I see what she's saying. No.
right next to you.
Keep going. There's a drop down to the left. There you go. Yeah, you got that.
Okay.
What's immersive?
Oh, that's.
Oh, no, that's.
Yeah, I know you don't want that. It's fun to play with though. For other meeting types.
There you go.
There we go.
It is working. Okay, yay.
Hello. Hello, hello.
Hello.
How are you?
We're here.
It's good. Is that the camera you
Well,
want?
during the work session, we're just gonna be on the
Right hand. Is that the one we want as opposed to right hand?
I don't think we get a choice.
Yes, we do.
Be right hand man.
And then when we're in
You
the
know, tonight.
meeting, we follow the cameras that he's using,
Right.
but yeah.
Hello.
Howdy, howdy.
Well, this will work for now. Oh, Keith, if you hear us, can you take the center camera to the YouTube thing, to Zoom?
I don't know that he's paying attention
He was watching something back there.
right now anyway.
Not us, that's rude.
You want some pizza?
This is where the entertainment.
Please,
I'll let you go grab that and we'll start the meeting.
as soon as later, I can show you pictures of my new grandbabies.
Yep.
Aw,
Yep. It's amazing. I became a grandpa and a dad in less than a week. It's unbelievable.
Hopefully it wasn't.
That happened
And,
times in recorded history.
and it's like,
There's a joke there.
like the whole family dynamic
They just
changed.
write themselves.
there's a riddle there.
I'm my own grandpa.
Yeah,
Is your wife?
that song will be on the charts next week.
I am my cousin's uncle.
To all of those listening at home, we apologize. We have not had a council meeting in almost a
No,
month.
I told him. When we get to the office. Now, it's
Calling to order the work session for Wednesday, January 7th, 2026. First on deck is Fairview on the Green rebrand. Take it away, Hiram.
All right, thank you. So the purpose of tonight is fairly quick, but is a request to approve the rebranding of Fairview on the Green to Fairview Summer Fest. We feel that the name aligns better with the event that is held today. Just a little background on the event. It started off as a chili cook-off. has grown into a full summer festival. The only thing that hasn't evolved has been the name. Some of the issues that we've heard and people, community members, vendors have approached us is a little confusion of the name. A lot of folks have mentioned that they feel that it is a golf type of event, so that they prepare for something of that nature. The reality of the event nowadays, it's, you know, community, artisan vendors, food, kids zone entertainment, and family friendly for all ages type of event. We feel that, again, that the rebranding would be more clear for what the event is, and what folks can come to, you know, when they come to the event, they know what to expect. You know, the event really of what it's evolved to, nothing of it are we looking to change, is really just the branding. It also would help with marketing, changing the logo a little bit. There is some renderings in the paper that you guys have in front of you of some ideas that we've came up with today. Again, I think removing just some of the vintage or old logo could really, again, make it clear of what the event is. And with that, that's, again, there's more detail in the package in front, but that's really the request for today. And if there is any desire of any of the three kind of images in the package that council leans towards, or, you know, directs us to maybe some other options, there's that possibility as well.
I like this, personally, I gravitate towards the middle one.
Yep, I like the middle one. Yeah.
And for the record, it's not, the old logo wasn't a con, it was a gesture.
It was a gesture, yes.
There is a distinct difference.
People think it's a clown.
I think that's the confusion.
Not my fault, they don't know what a gesture is.
I love the bottom roulette.
But yes, I tend to gravitate towards the middle one.
Yeah.
A, the sun is bigger. B, I'm not a big fan of the bubbly Comic Sans colors. Yeah,
And the coloring on the third one is gonna be hard to reproduce.
Yeah.
Have people see, so.
yeah.
Middle one.
I like the middle one.
And otherwise, yes, go for it.
Yep.
And then
Could have done it 2 years ago.
yeah, the only thing, and I don't know where I'm gonna get this year with it, but Rose Festival is talking about bringing back the sanctioned event program, where we throw a Rose Festival Rose Festival bug on community events. I don't know how far I'm gonna get this year on it, but we used to do that with community festivals like this, where it would be in the Rose Festival program, and it would be, and a Rose Festival director, which probably would be me or my dad, just show up and, you know, and be around, but it would be in the program of summer events in the region. I don't know whether that's gonna happen this year. That is a discussion that's happening at the Rose Festival. And this would be one of those kinds of festivals where it's summer, so it's after the Rose Festival ends, but the Rose Festival isn't just the 2 weeks, it's a regional thing, and we're talking about that. So at some point, if we get further in a meeting or two, I'll have them talk to you.
I think any promotion is a good thing.
Yeah, because if all we need is just kind of like some small information, I think we
Yeah.
can get that as early as, you know,
Yeah.
probably the end of the week or something, because again, we have the date, the time is pretty set. Again, I think we could put something together, and then now having a new image, I think we could play that in there real well. So
It's fantastic.
When is the date for it?
it's gonna be the last Saturday in July.
Last Saturday in July. Thank you.
I think this year's, I want to say it's the 25th.
Sure is.
Are there any one-time costs that we're going to have as a result of changing the branding? I mean, do you have signage or?
Yeah, I think printing will be something that will recur every year, but that's pretty a small amount. But bigger things, I think we're still looking at what that looks like. Last year, we purchased that inflatable arch, but we just branded as the city of Fairview, and that's the purpose of that was so we could use for multiple events. So we'll be identifying what those one-time specific brandings would be, but we're probably looking at shirts for like volunteers and things of that nature. But a lot of things won't be too expensive.
I think the only thing that you really have to rebrand are those A-frames.
The A-frames aren't branded, it's just
I
the,
thought they did have I thought they, okay, I'm wrong. I
it
thought
was
I saw
the, you can put like printed paper in there, and so we, just those printed costs.
Okay.
Of that nature, but they're reusable, for multiple events as well.
I think it's more for kids. The whole event is more for, it's more for kids and for moms that need to get out of the house and maybe do a little bit of shopping at some of our little vendor shops and stuff like that. That's how I look at it.
I think you're describing family.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think it's more of a, that's what I, it has always been.
Single dads, there are widowers with kids too.
The families.
Okay.
It is a family.
I've been there before. My wife passed away too.
Okay, I'm just saying, it's not just moms, it's anyone with kids and so forth, it's a family event.
I didn't mean to make it sound,
We want to include
I will
everyone.
say that every family that I've ever talked to that's gone to it
Oh, that's what.
tells me that they had a great time.
Love it.
so.
All right, real quick, Counselor Copeland, you have your hand up?
Yeah, the new logo looks great, by the way, Jairo. And this is just kind of like a small nitpicky thing, but if it wouldn't be too difficult, would it be possible to size the musical note down just a hair so that the white border doesn't cut into the side of the mountain?
Middle one?
Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah, we'll play around with the image and see if we can make that adjustment. I don't think it'd be too big of a task, but yeah, we can definitely look into making that adjustment there.
cool. Yeah, other than that, they look great. Thank you.
You went there.
yes, it is a quarter note.
Yeah.
Or if you're in England, it's a quarter, but because you're worthless.
And you have a semi-demi quaver.
All right. I think, is there anything else you need from us?
That's it.
Excellent.
Good work. Very good work.
Tell Andy, good job.
Thank you, we'll do.
Can't wait.
Next is the standalone use truck parking lots.
All right, I do have some slides that Deborah's going to pull up, but good evening. This topic is a continuation of something that I brought up in my director report this fall, and the council just asked for a little bit more information and more time for discussion. Is it this one? It is the one on the left, that one right there. Perfect. Okay, thank you. Podcast it. Oh, okay. Want me to go back and do that, or? I think it's okay. Okay. Yeah, okay. All right. Okay, so the question really relates to the city's general industrial zone, which is shown on the map there. So you can see it's a pretty large area of Fairview, stretching from I-84 all the way up to the Columbia River. The general industrial zoning code has not really been amended since 2001. It's very broad in its range of uses, including everything from heavier industrial and junkyards to light industrial, with some limited opportunities for integration of commercial in conjunction with industrial uses. And here we have the list of permitted uses. So it's divided into the industrial category. You can see here there's as a conditional use, heavy manufacturing and assembly. As a permitted use is light manufacturing, warehouse and distribution, junk yards, Columbia River dependent uses, which would just be limited to those that have are on the river. And then it includes this uses similar to those listed above. And then the commercial uses would be more limited and are conditional uses, which require approval from the Planning Commission. So in the general industrial zone, the northern part of the zone kind of has a different character from the southern part. There are larger parcels that have just greater land need. We've got the river uses up north, then some public uses. There's the PGE substation. There is some RV and boat storage, which predates the current zoning code. Recycling, we've got Heister-Yale. And so these parcels are all really served by Marine Drive and 223rd. Then down in the southern part of the general industrial zone, parcels are much smaller, it's more densely developed, and you have kind of a mix of longer standing uses that have been there for quite a while, such as the pallet repair. There are some contractor offices and storage yards, a truck service shop with some associated truck parking, and then the Townsend Business Park, which includes a lot of warehouse space, some manufacturing, as well as warehouse and distribution uses. And within the Townsend Business Park, these were all developed under a master plan and subdivision that was put in place about 20 years ago. So outside of that area, those are not part of that business park and those same rules.
Can you go back?
Yeah, absolutely.
It'd be far easier for me to get up and try.
So you need a laser pointer?
Not try to explain it. This area right here.
Uh-huh.
And the red line is around this, so what's different with these two lots right here?
Yeah, so to the, below the red line, those are just not part of the Townsend Business Park. So those properties were not owned by Townsend Farms and included in the master plan and subdivision.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, but they're all in the same general industrial zone.
Right.
Yeah. All right. So the issue is that we have a current use that has been in place since about 2013. That's really just truck parking. And we've had some more recent requests for developing properties just as a truck parking lot. With the current use, it is just, I think, individual drivers who are leasing spaces. The requested use would be more like managed by a company that does, trucking business and then has individual drivers parking there. But, in the cases where we've had this request come to the city in the last year, it wouldn't have any associated vehicle servicing, no storage or distribution or warehouse or office. It would really just be for the purpose of storing these vehicles. And because this has come up now a few times, I thought that it would be helpful to bring this forward to the city council to see if the council would like to, the city to amend the code to clarify if it's something that we would like permitted or if it's something that should not be permitted. Doing a code amendment really provides an opportunity for more input on the issue through the Planning Commission and the City Council hearings for businesses to weigh in on this. The other option could have been to do just a similar use determination. So an applicant can request that the city determine whether or not something that's not listed in the code is similar to something that is in the code. And we go through a process that's kind of a code interpretation. And then if we issue a decision, if staff issues a decision, the applicant can appeal that to the planning commission if they disagree with it. The question of truck parking, I think, is a little bit different than any of the uses that are listed in the zone. So I feel like it kind of borders on whether or not it could be a similar use or not. And so for that reason, I think is helpful to kind of elevate the discussion. So here's just a little more background on the use. So if the city allowed semi-truck parking lots, there aren't a lot of land use regulations that would apply. The general industrial zone just doesn't have a lot of zoning regulations in those standards, but there would be requirements related to access, surfacing, to pave the surface, to manage your stormwater, and to do landscaping. And then under our current code, parking lots have to be paved if there's a half acre or more of new parking lot area created. And they have to meet all these tree canopy requirements, which can end up being a little bit challenging for this type of use. So we did look at what other cities allow, and in Wood Village, it's not expressly listed as a standalone use, but fleet parking would be accessory to a warehouse and distribution or warehouse and freight movement. In Troutdale, truck parking as a standalone use is allowed under their freight and trucking firms use category. And then Gresham is kind of the same as Wood Village, where the accessory uses listed include fleet parking, which are accessory to transportation and distribution, associated with a warehouse or distribution center. So just some things that I've been thinking about related to this use, kind of looking at the guidance from the comprehensive plan and the purpose of the zoning district. There is not a whole lot of guidance in the comprehensive plan related to industrial uses. The economic opportunities analysis is quite old. It was last done when the city last did a major update of the comprehensive plan. And back in 2005, interestingly, the city did do an industrial land study with this goal of increasing employment in the city, looking at the limited capacity we had left for industrial development. And there was some recommendations for rezoning, I think, to bring in more opportunity for light industrial, but that never moved forward. I'm not sure why. And at this time, there is not a lot of industrial land remaining in Fairview, in particular, kind of in that area within the Townsend Business Park and directly adjacent to it. So I think that's just an important consideration. And then we kind of talked about the differing characteristics across the zoning district. So what I'm hoping to get tonight is some feedback on, sort of your thoughts on standalone truck parking as a permitted use in this zoning district. And then if we should bring forward a code amendment, and if so, if there's specific information that you think would be needed or helpful in considering that as a code amendment. And then, if you have any other feedback or considerations related to our general industrial zone, I would welcome that as well.
Can you go back to the map?
Yes. Okay, this one or?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Here, I gotta put my glasses on.
And absolutely.
So here's the deal. I mean, we do have an extremely limited amount of property in this zone. I mean, a lot of this is already developed, but my issue with this, at this point in time, is we're talking about this piece of property here. And so we have all of this development. And so if you go out and you look at what these other property owners have invested into the city of Fairview, and I'm just going to rattle a few of these off just for perspective here. So across the street, there's 3 parcels right there. One has a market value of 7.2 million. One has a market value of 36 million, which just seems pretty high to me, and one at 9.6 million. But the bottom line is those 3 properties, property tax, 72,000 for one, $266,000 for the other, and 106,000 for the other. And then if you go to the side of the street where there's a potential proposal for truck parking, the one there has a value, real market value of $20.5 million, and the other one is 17.8, of which drives 166,000 in taxes, and the other one 143,000 in taxes. So when I look at this, I mean, I know trucks need a place to park, and I appreciate the fact that they need a place to park. I'm just not sure. Well, it's not that I'm not sure. I don't believe they belong in Townsend Business Park. We should be trying to figure out a way to attract another business similar to what's basically been developed at Townsend and fill it in, exactly, fill in the gap. I mean, to put a parking there and lose the opportunity from a property tax perspective, and just by all means, if anybody's listening to this, maybe one person or two, those dollar amounts isn't all coming to the city. No. So the city's not getting rich and flush with all this property tax revenue. However, we are getting a portion of it. I didn't look to see how much that was. But I would just hate to throw away an opportunity here when we've got limited property within the zone. I mean, this property owner's had that property for a while. I'm not sure why something hasn't happened there. Don't necessarily care and wouldn't want to speculate, but I think taking that and putting parking lot for trucks when there's such an opportunity for some jobs and tax revenue to the city would be not a good use. I may have more to say in a minute, but that's enough for now.
Real quick, as much as I hate to keep telling you what to do, can we kill that so I can make sure that we see our last counselor too? Make sure he doesn't have any questions. In the meantime, Counselor Tuck.
Okay, well, I was actually going to point at a thing on there, but.
Sorry, I'm trying not to block him out. That's
Yeah, no, I totally get that. I could actually point here, well, we were waiting to see if we could see our colleague.
Well, we can talk to him. Hi, Paul.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh.
Sarah, do you want to advance it to where to go?
That's all right, go for it. We'll
Okay.
figure out this later.
So to follow up
Yes.
on what he said, if we were just talking about this spot or that spot for a parking lot, it's a much smaller, like less, but what you pointed out, like that's a prime spot to develop something in jobs and tax base. So if it was, one of these, like, all right, like we could, allow it. It's not a big parcel. We can't do something like, there's not a lot of potential for that lot. That lot is just too prime to turn into a parking lot for me.
Council Marker.
Can you go back,
Little ones.
add one slide? No,
This map?
it's where you had down there that people have been asking for a while as to why this hasn't been done. It's in your little area where you had the little paragraphs.
Maybe this, that,
Well, here's my curiosity. Who's the ones that's been asking as to why we haven't turned around and done that? Number two, if we are going to turn around and do something like that, where we're going to allow semi-truck and stuff like that, don't let them park there for free. I want to get what the city deserves to have to let them turn around and park there. And lastly, but not leastly, Sandy Boulevard going down toward there is really, really narrow. And there's been more than 2 truck accidents that have happened right there by Townsend Farms. And those 2 accidents actually congested that area for quite some time. That's all I got.
Counselor Dowling?
So what would, how much to increase tax base if we turn it into a parking lot versus a bank? Not much. So my thing is, and I don't disagree, but the fact is it's really easy to tear a parking lot up. If somebody wants to come in and build a warehouse and finish that out, but that's been sitting empty for 20 years, and no one's been rushing to put anything up. And as much as I would love to say we need to hang on to it, I would rather get a few pennies just for it to be paved. The other thing is that I've seen 3 of these go up in Troutdale in the last year. Plus Troutdale's also added a Peterbilt dealership tucked back by the airport to deal with all of the trailers. Can you go back to the map that we had? Easily.
I know, we're going.
It's our technical director. Hi, yeah. Pick that map. Well, I mean, if you look at that map, you know, it's like, you don't have to go full on. Trucking company, air conditioning company, trucking company. So all we're doing is providing them with parking. And again, if we want to, if Townsend wants to, whoever the owner of the property is, if somebody comes in and says, hey, I want to build a warehouse and hire 200 people, it's there. Parking lots get bulldozed all the time. Go talk to the Goodmans. So I don't have a problem with it, especially because it'll give us a few dollars. And if those guys come up and have pizza at Lolo's or hit the Fork, because it's closer than the 3 that are over here in Troutdale that have been built, 1 on the airport, 1 tucked back in off of Marine Drive, both of those are stacked with Amazon trailers. Amazon comes in and then dumps the trailers. And when they need the trailer, they can pick it up. They don't leave it in their yard. So I don't have a problem with it. I mean, I don't want to be short-sighted and say, well, it's going to be a parking lot forever. But if we can make a few pennies off of it and Lolo's can sell a few pizzas and you can sell, you know, a few pad thais, I don't see the downside of it. I'm not happy with it. I would much rather have a warehouse there that has 200 people fixing widgets. Or one of our approved uses was dry cleaning with explosives. I liked that one. But I don't think it's going to happen. It actually says that. Dry cleaning with explosives.
Let me ask you a question. Who has been inquiring?
Well, one other thing. This is the law we're talking about because there was a survey crew on it today.
well, it has come up, there are 3 different instances and locations where we have been asked, one of them we haven't been asked explicitly for a new development, but the property, the large property at the corner of 223rd and Townsend Way, originally got land use approval to develop a warehouse building and associated truck parking. They later came back and said they did not want to build the building. They just wanted to do the parking lot. So ultimately, that will, even if we change the code and say, yes, you can do that, it would require a modification to their land use decision. And because they were part of the original subdivision, and they're subject to certain restrictions, it does require the planning commission to approve any uses that were different from what was in place at the time that the subdivision was approved back in 2005 or so. So that's one case. There's another property on Sandy Boulevard where the property just started getting used for truck parking back in about 2013, it looks like, based on aerial imagery historically. And it was never, I don't know, nobody ever realized that it was the use change. It used to be sort of a construction yard. And so since that time, there had been a couple of pre-application conferences to develop something new. It was sold and a new property owner purchased the property in 2024 with that existing use and has continued leasing out their gravel parking lot to semi-truck drivers. The third request was a location that was a little bit further north. And there was a different complication related to that property, so they decided that it wasn't feasible. But they wanted to do the same thing. They wanted to just do a gravel parking lot with semi-truck parking.
So when it comes to parking, are they giving any kind of idea? Is it long-term, short-term, overnight? What is the intent?
It is definitely at least overnight parking. I don't know exactly how long-term, each of them is, But it's not in and out all day long.
It's not long-term.
No, I get it.
And it tends to be.
It's a question that needs to be asked.
Yeah, it does.
It tends to be sporadic as far as they'll have 5 or 6 or 7 all come out at the same time to go off and do things, and then,
Well, I guess
or they'll stash 5 or 6 or 7.
Can we code it so it's like 10 days
No.
maximum? No, we can't do
That's
that.
putting restrictions on them.
Okay.
I mean, we could,
Yeah.
but.
I think that would be difficult to administer.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
okay, that's a good point.
I guess
Who's
the
going to
other,
enforce that?
the other thing is eons ago, I had a discussion with a Port of Portland commissioner who's no longer a Port of Portland commissioner. And I think you have to keep in mind what this was supposed to be. This was supposed to be Tektronix. This was supposed to be, electronic industrial. We're going to move some of that really gravy stuff from the west east side. We're going to start that here. And he said, if it was up to him, they'd pave the Troutdale Airport and put warehouses up because this is where the truck drivers live. That was his direct quote. Like I said, we've had 3 of these go in Troutdale in the last year. One right on the airport, the other one right on Marine Drive. They've got it's true. This is where the truck drivers live. And if the truck drivers live out here and they got trailers, the companies that they're driving for have trailers, they need someplace to put the trailers. And in the last 4 or 5 years, since the pandemic, I've seen trailer stashing go through the roof out here, at least in the 3 cities. I haven't paid attention to Gresham, but certainly in Troutdale and we just keep putting more trailers out here. I don't like it. I would rather that we had Tektronix out here. Well, maybe not because I wouldn't be living here, but that kind of business. But I'll be damned if I know how to do it.
I'll say this, we've had our fair share of abandoned trailers here in the city of Fairview, okay? Probably more than we ever should have had.
I don't think those people are going to be paid to stash their trailers.
Yeah, that's
a different
a
story.
different demographic. I guess my point is, we do have parking issues around the city of truck drivers trying to park. They don't have anywhere to park. This came up before council probably 6 years ago. And where there was at least one in historic Fairview, or 2 in historic Fairview. And it became a minor war over whether or not that was going to be an allowed parking. And it came up that there's a very limited number of spaces for these guys to park these rigs. And if they don't have a lot, they're going to start landing on city streets. Think about it. Councilor Owen.
Well, if they do, I'll point them to a certain direction. So back to where we're at here. Councilor Dennerlein brings up a point. I understand that, trucks need a place to park. Some of the examples are out by the airport, 3, but they're not near a residential area. So when you look at that map that's not up there anymore,
There is residential.
We can imagine it.
you just imagine it.
We got it.
But
We know it.
just, the other side of the street, it's all, it's all residential. Just happens to be that the general industrial is on on the other side of the street. So, yeah, I mean, if that piece of property were kind of sitting out where Troutdale Airport is and there's no residential use on a short-term basis, I think parking would not be the worst thing. When you drive down Marine Drive today, there's definitely a number of lots that allow for trailer parking, but there's no residential parking or residential property by any of those. I just go back to the fact that it's a large piece of property. The folks that have developed within Townsend Farms have spent a lot of money and invested in the city. To invest in a parking lot is going to be minimal at best as far as what it's going to cost to do that. And there's a large residential base across the street. I don't think if we were to say that you can't park there, I'm not really too fearful about having a truck in my neighborhood or someplace down the street. I don't think the number of parking places that you would gain there are going to put an undue burden within the city of Fairview. I mean, those trucks will go somewhere. So for me, I mean, this is just a hard no. I just don't see it. I understand they need a place to park. Don't know why it's not developed at this point. Would encourage the developer to try to figure that out and make it happen.
You know, if it was me, I'd get together the 3 entities that are very interested in doing this, make them come up with a board, okay, on what they would like to see, and have their board turn around and come and present it to us. Okay, so that way we can get kind of an idea of what they would like to do as compared, because see, all we're doing right here is well, what if this person does this? Well, what if this person does that? We don't know. We don't have a clue. Now, if they was to turn around and come up here and say, well, this is what we would like to do, and we have Mr. Smith over here that's willing to turn around and take this, and Mr. Jones over here would be willing to turn around and do, it would be much easier for us to turn around and come up with a decision as to what we should do.
And just one more thing, because I still had this up.
Sorry.
I just find this one being a tough one for us as a city council to sit here and decide whether we like it or we don't like it, or whether it fits or it doesn't fit, Sarah. And I know you mentioned something about the process and land use, and you'd have to go through all of these steps to do that. What would it cost to do that if you wanted to go in and, I guess, change the code to allow something?
It would be, I'm trying to think of what the current code amendment, text amendment price is, zone change, about $5,000.
Be paid for by the applicant.
Right. So, yes, so if the council kind of sees like, this is not a similar use to what's in the current code, and we're gonna have to amend it. The city doesn't, it sounds like there's sort of mixed opinions about whether it should be allowed or not, or if so, under what circumstances, perhaps, if it was more limited to certain parcel size or geography, then yes, the city could say, no, it is not a permitted use currently. If we were going to be asked to do a similar use determination, the answer would be no, it's not currently a similar use. And if you would like to apply for a text amendment to the code, you may go ahead and do that. So that would mean, that big parcel, they could, ask to go through that process, or, perhaps, I think the reason they eliminated the building from their proposal was they said the cost of construction went up and it became too expensive. But maybe it would, push them in that direction. And then the parcel currently being used for truck parking, this came onto our radar because DEQ is trying to issue a industrial stormwater permit for that site. And in order to do that, the city needs to say that it's an approved use on the property. So that's, again, that's why it came to us. That property owner could do the same thing. They could say, we'd like you to change the code to allow truck parking for this property. And, until that time, the city would have to say, this is what you're doing is not permitted and you can no longer use your lot for truck parking.
And where is that property located?
Do you know where the seasonal farm worker housing property is for Townsend Farms on Sandy? It's next to the pallet repair site.
Okay, so it's kind of nestled in.
There's a house in the front and then the back, and then on the side, there's a bunch of regular vehicles, and in the back, it's all tightly packed semi-trucks.
And there's no residential.
Well,
Just
Outside of
the-
temporary housing.
Outside of the temporary house.
Right, yeah, and there happens to be one residential house kind of up across the street.
I mean, I personally think if this is something that they really want to do, let them take the ball and guide it. I don't think this is something that we need to be ahead of. If we're trying to guess the market, let the market tell us what's going on. If the market is it's a lot, then it's a lot. But it's going to have to come from the property owner. It's going to have to go through the process and allow residents to have their say. I don't think this is something that we need to get ahead of.
I think that's probably the best. It reflects everything that everyone said.
Well, that's why we have the discussion.
There it is.
Yes, this has been helpful, thank you.
Thank you.
Very helpful.
Yes, there was a survey crew there this morning.
Okay,
All right.
okay.
Anything else?
So,
Okay. Real quick, that letter from, do you have a copy of that?
I do.
I read it.
So,
Yes, sir.
just
Here,
so
I'll
you
give it
guys
to
know, the background.
Add even more to my,
Oh, we're not.
The background on this is the city of Gresham has been getting a little bit of pressure to declare a state of emergency in regards to immigration enforcement. And last night at city council, there was about 35 people there down in Gresham, talking about it, protesting about it, testifying about it. And so the conversation, it's been a topic of conversation amongst the mayors, just general for a little bit now. But we're now at a threshold of, is there something we need to do about it? And to be honest with you, the state is a sanctuary state. So they kind of globally cover it all. And any enforcement from us would come from MCSO, and MCSO has already made their stance abundantly clear.
Yeah.
So really, doing anything like that wouldn't do a whole heck of a lot. Be more performative than anything else. But the two things that did come out, and the letter does discuss, is one, let's put some pressure on national level to do some immigration reform. It's been a long time, probably should be revisited. That's a separate issue. What we can do more immediate is Multnomah County does have $250,000 set aside for emergency services. It is a thought that as the four mayors that we would write a letter to Multnomah County asking them for $50,000 of that. That percentage was based off of essentially everything east of 205 and roughly what percentage population we are of that. I think it's a little high, but that's okay. We're, ask a little high, always ask high. So it's sitting there, it's not being used, and it would not be administered by cities. It would actually be given out to culturally sensitive organizations that actually have the tools and the expertise, and it would give them the funding to do it. There is a possibility of another funding source as well, possibly that's extremely premature in the conversation at this point. But right now, that's where we're kind of sitting at is is this something you support, taking a look at that? And it's basically just an ask of Multnomah County. Hey, can we have some money? Well, not we, but can you funnel some money out to East County to assist in these services? So that's essentially it. Councilor Blake Dow.
My first instinct last time was thinking there's none of our departments in the city of Fairview touch these issues, other than MCSO that we pay for, and they have we don't talk, we hang up on you, we don't cooperate and so forth. So in that sense, we're, from my perspective, like, as far as the state rules and so forth, reflect, because there's nothing we can do, like with our departments and so forth. And so in that sense, it could be one of those sort of performative things. I am interested in emerging funding from that perspective. That's not performative.
No.
That's actual impact.
That's right.
Again, we are a small town. We do not touch federal stuff. Not if we are a small enough town that we don't have agencies that touch these issues, other than the fact that it affects our citizens. And the other thing is, I had a discussion, apparently ICE has shown up at King's Apartments 3 times in the last 2 weeks and charged it. And only one time did they have anyone, and the one time they had someone, they released them. So the amount of fear that is being created in the community, and people not taking kids to their school, people not going to work, kids getting left school because their parents are afraid to pick them up. Those kinds of things are having a socio-economic impact on our residents who elected us to be here. And so asking for this 50,000 for basically social service stuff, whoever's administering it, you said culture center meetings, but something, that I'm in favor of with this, is my attitude on this, is there is a impact on the people who we represent. And if there's this money sitting in the county to help mitigate that, then get it.
Councilor Mark?
Well, I had a lot of time to watch TV today, and what I saw was very, very disturbing. A lady getting shot in her car. We have a lot of people in this town that are Hispanic, Black, not from this area, that have decided to come here and make Fairview their home. And for me, if they want to come here and make it their home, we owe it to them to turn around and look after them if they want to be here in Fairview. And I'd be willing to accept what Ian just said and get the money for that. I think it would be important. And it also shows that we care and that we give a crap about our people.
Councilor Weber?
Can you just explain a little bit more about what the money would be used for?
There are organizations that help with immigration services. It will go towards them.
Okay.
And that's.
And it would come directly from Multnomah County to those organizations?
Yes. And we're asking for that to be directed out this way for those services.
Okay.
A single, my concern is if we start passing it around every time we do that, now somebody has to administer this, and somebody has to take a slice because they've administered it. Or are we just going to give $50,000 to one organization and let them deal with it, as opposed to us going, well, how much?
I can find that out.
Yeah, I would say that's my thing, is give it to one, because regulatory commission, this is what happens when you get government involved with grants, and all of a sudden you take a slice and you take a slice and you take a slice and you take a slice. Next thing you know, that $50,000 is $5,000 to this one organization because this city had to charge for this FTE and we had to do this and this and this. I would want to see it go to one organization out here that is involved with helping immigrant families and how they're dealing with the current situation. The other thing that I would ask is, on that letter at the bottom of it, you put the mailing address, email address, and phone numbers of both of our senators and all 5 of our representatives so that they know at a federal level who to start squatting to.
I will definitely.
There's a civics lesson in there where people say, well, we need to do something. Name your two senior, or your 2 federal senators. And there are people who look at you, well, if you want to get stuff done, you got to start writing letters and emailing and voting, obviously, but that's a whole nother story. So.
It really doesn't seem like our elected officials can do anything at all about the Department of Homeland Security.
No, because that's an executive branch,
Yeah.
Other than budget.
other than budget.
I would just say, if we could just figure out how to wordsmith, I mean, when you
Yeah.
answered the question, Counselor Weber said, talked about immigration, be something a little more specific. This just kind of feels like we're taking $50,000 and kind of throwing it up in the air. Now, maybe we're going to throw it up in the air and it's going to land in that one bucket, which I totally would be in favor of it going to,
Right.
put to one as opposed to busting it up, but it's still, it doesn't feel tight enough.
It's a little, yeah, it's fuzzy.
So if it's really for
I actually had
immigration
the very same
support
question.
or services, if we could just add something in there to that effect,
I
it would
think,
be, I think it'd be much more.
I think my exact comment was the money part feels very vague.
Yeah.
My exact
Right, well, yeah, I mean, we're sitting here spending money that's, I don't know, not really our money, I guess. I mean, I guess it is. We do pay money, to Multnomah County, but it is for, is there emergency related?
It's kind of vague, yeah. What do you have this money for? It's an emergency thing.
But
Okay,
where?
cool, but what kind of emergency?
That's,
Is it a fire emergency or? No.
yeah.
No, I mean, if it got tightened up and then, and you gave us one more pass on it, I would be absolutely in favor of you signing this and come good because I like it.
City manager?
No, it's related, but not specific. I just want to let you know, that I put a policy in place for our staff that if ICE were to show up here, unless they have a court order, they cannot come in. To make sure everyone knows that if we have an issue where they're trying to press, we just call MCSO. No,
Yeah, good, thank you.
just let you know.
Love that.
Okay.
Yeah, I did this when we first had months ago, so,
That makes me really happy.
Thank you for that.
yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Good forethought.
Well, it wasn't my idea, but it was a good idea. It was our sheriff's office, so.
Yeah, good.
All right, I think that's it for the work session. We'll go ahead and call this to a close and we will reconvene in about 5 minutes.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Deal.
Yay.
Bob Cochran, just call Kip.
It'll be good to see you.
That is the boy and that is the girl. That's what I said it was. I said
Huh? I know. I think dinner line brought that for me. I don't know. I kind of got lost in the conversation. Oh. See you tomorrow.
My computer's not working. I tried to pull you up on my computer with your agenda for tonight.
This is Counselor Dennerlein's back.
Council office, not storage room.
Okay.
People sit on it.
What, 40?
It's a time frame. I know it's, I went in there and was actually using it at one point.
Just catching. And I got an email. So as long as that happens, I'm fine with not talking today.
The other thing that I want to talk about, because we were looking at those maps, is should we do annexation or a small arm?
Oh, yeah. So the other couple.
The Troutdale, like, said, we're taking this, and it's like, screw you, no, we're gonna take it back. Because it's not a nice straight line.
I know, I can't.
No, this pie thing just, it offends my sensibilities. I don't like it, we need to do something about it.
Right, they're parking in the buffer. Sounds like, it, yeah.
They are.
We should take over the Troutdale area. It follows the railroad track. I don't know why.
23rd.
Okay.
They've let.
Yeah, it follows the Kenton line. But I don't know why they decided to do that. And
That sounds slightly familiar.
Yeah.
My plane thing won't open access for the microphones.
oh,
I feel like our former public works. I just pushed the button.
no, pull the tip. It's a lock.
Look that up and see what the situation is. I like the color.
I know, I was over here,
And-
why was it, you have a perfect day. Look, mine.
So if water rights like
Well,
do
that
allow
house
you
has
to.
been sold.
Forced, okay, well, it's
I don't believe.
a Kershaw, Ken Onion,
Right,
in purple.
yeah.
No, maybe
Any of that being.
at the water.
Yes.
Yeah.
As far as where that's going. Don't start with this. I know.
Yeah.
Oh, look who it is.
Nightmares now.
That's how I know.
Did you have a good question?
That some things never change.
I know, they say the same thing.
How you doing?
Thank you.
Nice.
Good to see ya.
Bob.
Jeff Dennerlein.
Hi, Jeff. Nice to see you too.
No? Went down to.
Okay, all right.
And look
The
at.
place and got that box. See,
Okay.
I can't get no.
Not a whole lot. There's a presentation about Blue Lake Park and some
I do miss the,
planning that we're doing there.
okay, that,
Oh, did you get pictures of the baby?
Reading.
Chili contest.
yeah.
Yeah, we just had too many people coming in with bowls thinking they were,
Right, yeah.
thinking they were gonna get a full meal with chili.
So that's we don't
Sounds good. I think it's Saturday.
hire a consultant from, Houston or San Antonio to come up and teach you how to do that.
You saved all the money on
Could you be any more?
There you go.
I wasn't sure how to relock it. Unlock it.
Police who was able to be there and see him born. She was supposed to leave and come back. The end of the sentence.
Nope, she.
Because they turned around and said that.
She did?
We owe
Yes.
for paper. Yeah, so
She's no longer here.
I was supposed to have miles.
Did she withdraw?
3 days. Whole Multnomah County, the whole of the state. And, she finally turned us, had to fix it over there.
Whole reason to get rid of that.
I gave it back to.
You actually read them?
I don't think I read that part. All right, are we ready?
I am, but I,
Oh, we are missing a counselor, yes.
He's coming.
supposed to have sleep for the next day.
You'll fall asleep. Totally. That's what you had to give us. Sleep, be nice.
All right, could, I mean, we know he's here.
Here we go.
He's right
Here we
there.
go.
He's coming.
I watched his hands right after our amazing 60-minute. You're on.
All right. Call to order the city council session for Wednesday, January 7th, 2026. If we could please have a roll call.
Counselor Todd,
Present.
Counselor Copeland,
Here?
Counselor Owen,
Here.
Counselor Dennerlein,
Bell's on.
Counselor Marker,
Here.
Counselor Weber. Here. Mayor Kudernoff.
Present. If we can stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I don't know, but he did stand, and I'm very impressed. Do we have any citizens wishing to comment on agenda items?
No.
Okay. Presentation for Blue Lake Park renovation update. I haven't seen your face in a little while. Come on down. Let's hear the latest.
Mayor,
Mayor Kudernoff.
Yes.
could we introduce Bob first?
Could we introduce Bob first? You know what? You could just stay there. Yes, thank you very much. Let's go ahead. We have had a recent departure as one of our staff has retired. So we are welcoming in Bob Cochran, our former Public Works Director. Yeah, agreed to come in on a temporary basis to kind of help bridge a gap until we get a permanent hire. So thank you very much. Well, considering how many times, yes, thank you. Considering how many times I'd see you and your first sentence out of your mouth was always, how are you, how's my city going? Every time. All right, thank you very much for that.
Thank you, Mayor, councilors. I'm John Blasher, Director of Metro's Parks and Nature Departments, and Project Manager Elena Sholula is joining me today. And we're here to talk about the Blue Lake Regional Park renovation plan. And that's not it.
That's not it.
No, but it could be. It could be.
We probably have some other folks.
It's not far away from there.
But the renovation plan that we'll be bringing up here, it defines a long-term vision for Blue Lake Park and prioritizes improvements for an initial phase of construction. And the draft plans are currently out for community feedback right now. And this is just a chance for us to come and share a little bit more with you. So I'll share just a reminder of some of the context of the Metro Parks and Nature, and then Elena will share more about the proposed renovation plans. And there we go.
So because this is a PDF, you're gonna have to scroll through the slides, so.
We can go to the next slide then, and give it a try. Perfect. So Metro's Parks and Nature mission is to protect clean water, restore fish and wildlife habitat, and connect people with nature close to home. We do that through a network of parks, trails, and natural areas. We're 19,000 acres to manage across the region. We collaborate with cities, counties, and other park providers through the Regional Trails Network, through the Local Share Program, and through other grants that we provide across the region. Next slide, please. So this graphic, which is from our system plan, really helps to describe the role of different park providers in the region. It shows Metro's unique role filling gaps between large park providers at the state and federal level and local parks provided by cities and park districts. So to orient you, top left, you see national parks, Fish and Wildlife, Bureau of Land Management, and then Metro is kind of in between as you go down to the right and you get into the local jurisdiction cities. So Metro playing this role of sort of regionalism, providing some of the large nature regional experiences, also providing some large land acquisition to protect and restore habitat across the region, and then providing those investments to communities through grants, thanks to the voters who fund our bond and local option levy. Blue Lake stands out in our system as something that was developed as a county park rather than as a natural area. As you all probably know very well about Blue Lake Park being here in your backyard. It serves a unique role in Metro's portfolio as a place for people to gather for outdoor events in the summer and for folks to get out and fish and enjoy all year round. Every year, Metro staff welcomes more than 300,000 visitors to Blue Lake Regional Park, and as you'll see in today's presentation, the park's history and popularity both provides challenges and opportunities for planning for the park's future. In addition to the park improvements at Blue Lake, Metro is also working on completing a segment of the Marine Drive Trail, which will connect from Fairview to completed segments of the 40-mile trail loop, which is to the west. And with that, I'll hand it over to Elena to talk more about the renovation project itself.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Mayor and councilors. Blue Lake Regional Park has been a beloved destination for generations. Whether fishing alongside a great blue heron, pausing to relax at the lake edge, joining a community celebration, or running a 5K, the park offers something for everyone. It's a place to enjoy nature and recharge, cool off on a hot day, or be with family and friends. Blue Lake Park is 150 acres, not including the lake. The area west of Blue Lake Road is developed with park amenities. The area east of Blue Lake Road is maintained as a disc golf course and offers important opportunities for improving wildlife habitat. The park is within a 10 to 20 minute drive of most areas in East Montgomery County, and it is visited by an incredible diversity of communities. While we don't have recent visitor survey data from the park to give you a sense of that diversity, this in the 2024-25 school year, Meadow Lake School District, which immediately surrounds the park, identified 114 languages spoken. Blue Lake sits near the southern shore of the Columbia River, just west of the mouth of the Sandy. It is a natural lake, likely a remnant of a very old river channel. Before the flood control levees were built, during the river's seasonal spring and fall flooding, river water fed by snowmelt flowed through the lake. The lake is now hydrologically isolated from the river, and you can't see the river from anywhere in the park. But understanding its historical connection is an important starting point for the project for 2 reasons. First, Indigenous communities have lived, fished, hunted, and gathered along the Columbia and Sandy rivers since time immemorial. And because of the park's proximity to the river, we have placed special extra focus on consultation with tribal governments and engagement with local Indigenous communities to plan for the park's future. Through those conversations, we want to make sure the plans are in alignment with tribal government priorities and that we support Indigenous people's ongoing connections. Second, understanding the site's historic connection to the Columbia River helps us guide habitat restoration and enhancement. Blue Lake's life as a park began when it was developed as a privately run resort in 1925, featuring swimming, camping, rides, and even a dance hall, a high dive, and a Ferris wheel. In the 1960s, as John mentioned, Montgomery County purchased the land and rebuilt it as a county park. And this picture of Old Blue, a smoke-breathing, blinking dragon, is from the Multnomah County days. Management of Blue Lake was transferred to Metro from Multnomah County in 1994. Much of the park today was built by the county in the early 60s with significant additions in the 1980s. While individual elements have been added and replaced over time, the overall structure of the park hasn't changed much since The park is very well loved by the community. One of the things that stands out to me from talking with people about the park is the family stories and ties to the park that they've shared. One comment which we received through our current survey encapsulates that perfectly. I saw a picture of my grandmother holding my Aunt Sandy, who's 80 years old now, in front of a Ferris wheel at Blue Lake. Fast forward, and I have been going to Blue Lake my entire life. My daughters and grandchildren enjoy our time at Blue Lake. We also have family reunions and birthdays. So that comment represents 5 generations of memories of the park. These photos give you a sense of the diversity of spaces in the park, from quiet nature walks to large community events, paddling, swimming, or fishing, playing disc golf, or running in a cross-country meet. There's something for everyone. The park, as John mentioned, is unique in Metro's portfolio because most of our parks start as protected natural areas where we very delicately design places for people to come in and experience nature. Blue Lake was designed as a place for people first. So as part of this process, we're identifying opportunities to bring more nature to the park and to align more with Metro's mission to protect wildlife habitat, water quality, and connect people with nature. Blue Lake is also unique in the spaces it provides for communities to come together in large numbers. To give you an idea of that scale, the scale of the picnic facilities at the park early on in the project, we informally compared Blue Lake to the city of Portland's park system and learned that Blue Lake itself had about 50% of their reservable picnic spaces as the entire city of Portland's parks. And at that time, only 3 of Portland's reservable picnic areas were east of 205. So it just gives you a sense of kind of the value of those community gathering places. And additionally, Blue Lake has some of the largest shelters and regularly hosts events with over 1,000 visitors. So the park's role as an outdoor venue contributes to some of the challenges for park operations. On the busiest days, we might have a few large events, all the picnic areas reserved, and visitors coming to the park to seek refuge from the heat. Cars are creatively parked in every last grassy area. Rangers are tasked to help resolve issues that arise when groups of visitors are a little too hot and a bit too crowded to keep from stepping on each other's toes. Even on some of those busiest days, though, the areas around the swim beach and splash pad, which is number 2 on this map, are packed, while areas near the fishing pier and natural areas are filled with Our peak days are on summer weekends, when the park is bursting at the seams, but most days, especially in the off-season, are pretty quiet. Some areas are hardly used at all, like the seasonally wet lawn, which is number 4, I don't know if you get numbers, but on the west end of the park there. It's hardly used, but it still requires mowing. One of the things that I learned from talking to people about the park is that many people who have been to the park numerous times have never walked on the trails in the West Wetlands and did not even know that that area was part of the park. Blue Lake is a flat site, but its older paths and facilities lack accessibility and are due for an update. These are some of the challenges that the renovation plan aims to address. There are also great opportunities to improve wildlife and wetland habitat, improve nature experiences, and make the park feel more like it's part of that Columbia River ecosystem. This map shows some of our investments that we've already completed in the park. When Metro's bond passed, we moved forward quickly with upgrading the critical infrastructure like water and sanitary systems, removed old buildings and structures that were no longer serving the community. We renovated the fishing pier with structural and accessibility upgrades. And we are also finalizing a site conservation plan which will articulate Metro's strategy for managing natural resources. While working on those infrastructure projects, we have been engaging with the community about a vision for the future of the park. We've heard people's desires for safety, places to play, transit access, more nature experiences, concerns about water quality, desire for whimsy, frustration with the geese, the need for shade, and much more. We heard where the best fishing spots are and then explored to see the sea. Thinking back across all of the engagement we've done, if I were to choose one thing to highlight that emerged consistently, designing a park for multi-generational use is something that I have heard through all the communities, through surveys, virtual and in-person conversations. People want water play areas, people want play areas with convenient shady places to sit and vibrate while their kids play, or spaces designed for adults to engage with kids while they play and learn about nature. People want water play to not just be for kids, but to offer places for adults to get wet and cool off on a hot day. We heard about how important sports courts could be for older kids, teens and tweens, and activities in the park. And also how important accessibility is to enable all family members to enjoy the park. Early on in the project, together with community members, we developed a vision statement to help the project team stay true to Metro and community values. The future Blue Lake Regional Park is a place for connection between land, water, plants, and people. It is a place where wildlife thrives in a healthy, connected habitat, and where all people feel safe to play, relax, and be together. The park can be cared for sustainably with minimal impacts on climate and surrounding habitat. And the park provides a refuge from the stresses of a changing climate. So this diagram highlights how the proposed park design aims to transform this vision for Blue Lake's future into reality. It incorporates community feedback and addresses the challenges I shared earlier. The plan prioritizes nature at the east and west ends of the park, while maintaining an active zone in the center of the park for activities like picnicking, play, and sports. Within the active part of the park, the design aims to distribute visitors more evenly, reducing congestion around the most popular places. There are 3 distinct lake access points for paddling, swimming, and fishing. This helps reduce conflict between uses while setting aside some areas of the shoreline habitat. The activities are grouped together at the new boat beach, proposed where the swim beach is currently located. The boat beach will include an adaptive dock for wheelchair users and accommodates access for trailer boats. The boat beach is located close to parking to allow convenient access without building any new roads. In the center of the park, the design formalizes the large existing lawn to create a main event space. To address capacity and parking challenges that I shared about earlier, the overall numbers of picnic spaces are reduced, but improvements to picnic facilities and shelters will result in higher quality picnic areas and less crowded picnic experiences. East of Blue Lake Road, new trails expand opportunities to walk in nature, creating a 2.5-mile long walk around the entire park. Wetland restoration and native plants improve habitat around the popular disc golf course, which is set to remain. So this slide shows the long-term renovation plan in more detail, and our online open house has an interactive version of this map where you can compare the proposed plan with the existing photo. So I encourage folks to visit our online open house and explore that. Thanks to voters, we're very fortunate to have funding for an initial phase of construction from the Parks and Nature Fund. The phase 1 plan shown here is guided by priorities community members shared, along with the park vision and logistical realities of construction, maintenance, and operations. In identifying what improvements to include in phase 1, 5 criteria emerge. First, creating a scaffolding for the future. Second, maximizing the positive impact on how people experience the park. Third, prioritizing nature. Fourth, addressing big operational challenges. And last, bundling together shoreline improvements, and construction efficiency. By establishing the 3 lake access points, boat beach, swim beach, and fishing pier, we're creating the scaffolding that additional projects can continue to build on as funding becomes available. Excuse me. Prioritizing the new seasonal wetland. Really hoping I can get through the whole presentation.
You're doing great.
Understand.
I feel for you. I know you're not feeling your best, but you're doing great.
Prioritizing the new seasonal wetland and lake trails will expand consider opportunities to experience nature. And will create an inviting connection to explore the existing natural areas that people currently don't realize exist. While elevating habitat and nature experiences, the plan also maintains the things that people know and love about the park, offering improvements to picnic facilities and maintaining infrastructure for larger events. Phase 1 works around the existing parking lots in order to focus investments on high-value visitor amenities, with new inclusive play and water play, envisioned to be inviting for adults and kids. We will also be prioritizing accessibility improvements and updating signs throughout the park. More details about phase 1 can also be explored through our online open house. We're still at a conceptual design level. As we get closer to construction, we'll have more cost certainty, and so we may need to adjust what's included in phase 1. Over the last month and a half, we've been asking community members to help inform how we make those hard choices. We've been asking what is most important to keep if we can build less than we thought, and on the flip side, what from the long-term plan should be added in phase 1 if the budget stretches farther than we anticipated. So, community members still have an opportunity to weigh in. Folks are invited to talk with the project team this Sunday at the Fairview Library from 1 to 3 p.m. And then people have through next Sunday, January 18th, to take the online survey. And also to explore the plans online. And then we'll integrate that community feedback into final plans and request Metro Council's official adoption of the renovation plan this spring. After that, we'll begin design and permitting to prepare for phase 1 construction. And that process will take about 1.5 years, and construction is anticipated to begin in the fall of 2027. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor McDermott and councilors for your time today. We appreciate our city's support and partnership on all our work at Blue Lake, and specifically I want to thank Sarah Selden for her time and coordination through the planning process. We look forward to continuing our partnership with the city, and we'd be happy to take any questions or comments we have on the project.
All right, let's go with Councilor Todd.
This is close to my heart because voting for your first phase of this was the first thing I dealt with when I was on planning commission 3 years ago. And so I loved going, getting the tour and see where that went and actually seeing, that. I've given up of restoring the original Ferris wheel that was there. Sarah, our planner, when I made a joke about that at one point, she showed me a picture that there was a Ferris wheel there when it first was a thing, but we're not getting that back, and that's fine. This looks fantastic. I'm really looking forward to seeing how this develops, but it looks like a great use of the underutilized pieces of it and improving the quality of it. So thank you very much for your work.
Councilor Marker.
I got a couple of items here. First of all, I know some of my colleagues up here may fish, but I'm considered the fisherman of the bunch since I've been handling parks, ever since I've been with the city of Fairview. In 1925, when that park opened, It got sold, I guess, to Multnomah County in 1963, is that correct? Okay. Who owned the park in 1925?
It was it was, because I researched it, which showed that. So it was a trolley company that built the trolley that ran through here, through historic Fairview.
Okay.
Which is why our property lines are a weird angle through there, because that was the trolley right away. And just like Oaks Park, it was a trolley company who built an amusement park at the end of the trolley line, so people had a reason to ride the trolley on the weekend.
Okay, well, thank you, I didn't know that.
It's something Traction Company. I think it was Portland Traction Company, or
Wasn't another PTC?
I don't know, or it might have that, but it was something like that. It was a trolley company.
Thanks, Ian. The next thing is Blue Lake Park manned? In other words, is there a ranger down there or something like that that lives there on the land permanently as long as he's working there?
Nobody lives there permanently, but our park offices are stationed at Blue Lake, and we have a team who takes care of Blue Lake Park, Chinook Landing, and all the other programs and so we have a team that manages it, but there's not staff on staff at all times.
So there's nobody there in the nighttime, correct? Okay. The next thing I happen to know, because I was kind of involved in this, is a while back, the Metro had told the Marine Board that they wanted to close Blue Lake Park to motorized vehicles, okay? Well, the residents got all up in arms about it and ended up going back to Metro and the Marine Board, and the Marine Board opened it back up, okay? Now, my question to you is, what is the status of that currently?
Yeah, so we spent several years negotiating a memorandum of understanding with the neighbors, and so currently there is a program in the park. The program is available through our special use permit process, and so the neighbors are using that process to access the land. And we don't have any jurisdiction over the lake itself, so that's completely in the Marine Board's hands.
And lastly but not leastly, even before I came here, Blue Lake Park was well known as the top fishing spot in East County, okay? My feeling is that the Salish Ponds has overtaken that because of the number of people that we get fishing at Salish Ponds. Now, my question to you is there anything that Blue Lake Park has done to enhance fishing there at the park? In other words, have they been in contact with the ODF&W? Do they have a regular fishing schedule to drop fish in the water? That's what I'm interested in.
ODF does drop fish, I think, 3 times a year in the springs. And then we also did recently update our fishing gear, so we did pretty significant improvements in accessibility improvements.
Okay, thank you.
Counselor, go ahead, please.
Excuse me, yeah, Counselor Moore. I just wanted to talk about the piece about, in terms of staff at the park. We've got staff during the day and overnight, because our parks are open more or less sunrise to sunset across the board.
Oh, the park still closes at dark, right?
Park closes at dark, all of our properties close at dark, our cemeteries and all those places. And we have contracted services with security services to go by and do just regular checks, especially at some of our higher use spots after hours where we know there's different types of activity. So it's not just completely abandoned overnight. We have contracted services.
That's great. Thank you, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Okay. Counselor Dennehy.
Actually, Councilor Marker kind of addressed it, but, and even though they're not our constituents, so by the technicality, we really shouldn't care about Interlochen, but I do care about Interlochen because they're our neighbors. And I just kind of want to make sure that, because you kind of did say, we want to close this, and the Marine Board said, yeah, it's not your water, right? Is that fairly accurate?
To be a little bit more precise, the, Oregon State law when it comes to public waters, right? Those are public waters.
Right.
Those are water of the people. as a recreational provider, we have the ability to do our best to sort of manage how we can safely provide that recreational piece without getting into different recreational immunity challenges and those different types of things. So we can't stop people once they're in the water. We can't, we can say where we would prefer people to swim if they're going to access the lake from Metro's public property. So our intent was that because there had been an old agreement that was part of Metro's Title 10 code, it actually prohibited any personal watercrafts being in the lake during the summer months. So watercrafts were restricted only to, at the time, members of the HOA that had a permit process that they would go through. So we had people that we would turn away with their canoes, paddleboards, all sorts of things because of the old Metro code. So as we were going through the process to say, that's not fair, that's not equitable, there's not a lot of places to get good swimming or get water access. The Columbia River you can, and it's kind of fast. So our intent was to provide year-round access to the lake for watercrafts. As part of that, our understanding was that in the past, the Marine Board felt that that lake is too small to have personal watercraft, non-motorized watercrafts and motorized watercrafts. And so we, in talking to the Marine Board, saying, hey, we want to open this up to the public year-round. At the time, their recommendation was, well, probably going to want to limit motorized boats and not allow that during that time. We got off step, we met with some of the neighbors, with our own council, with the Marine Board, took a great big step back and said, let's have a conversation. And so we met with the HOA members for many months trying to figure out what's the right path forward so that everyone should be able to enjoy these public waters and come out, because not everyone has a motorboat and not everyone gets to benefit from living on the lake. So our intent is about opening more access and providing more of that, but how do you do that safely, knowing that it's a small lake and we don't want to put up a situation where we're putting people on kayaks, paddleboards, swimming as neighbors are going and using their motorboats. Even for our standing point, we actually don't allow motorized boats to access the lake unless there's a special use permit. So usually it's for when, the triathlon, they would have a power boat out on the lake to help with folks. For most of our guests that want to use it, we encourage them just to bring non-motorized watercrafts. And then for the neighbors, they ask for a permit, we've got a process.
Is the permit free?
Yeah, we're not charging that.
Because, technically, they pre-existed you as far as use of the lake, for you to come in and say, oh, by the way, we're gonna take away your ability to get to the lake, because that's the only, I understand, and in past, they've equitably said, from 3 to 5, we're gonna pull all the power boats off so that the paddle boards can go out and all of that. But I'd also point out that one of the biggest events that has happened in the past, and I don't know if it still does or not, is the wakeboarding competition that is directly because of the fact that there's power boats on there. And I would venture to say that virtually everyone on the south side of that lake owns a boat. There's 50, 60, 70 boats that are sitting there being used throughout the year. And I just want to make sure that those people are protected as well, even though they're not our constituents. I've had people grumble about the fact that they, and it's always that we've heard, it's never been enforced. But, if you've bought a $70,000 ski boat and all of a sudden some government entity is trying to say, by the way, we don't want you to use it on this piece of water, drag it over to Chinook Landing and put it in. And they go, I own $1 million house on this lake. I want to put my ski boat on this lake. It's kind of hard to tell them pound sand. So I realize this is down the road, and again, it's not our constituents. But just to make sure that, and I thank you for your explanation, because I wasn't sure exactly what had happened, and I know there's always this matchup, because sure, is it a navigable piece of water? Well, it was 3,000 years ago. It's not now. So is Lake Oswego navigable? We could spend an hour doing it.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I believe it's considered, thank you, I believe it is considered navigable, and again, they can access other places, and we are facilitating that access too, and we've got a great relationship of how can we do it safely, and they've got the way that they're managing and monitoring when they see there's a lot of people, okay, they're gonna ask their folks not to use power boats, but we don't tell them what to do, how to do it, only just, maybe you wanna access the park to put your boats in, just let us know, and let's have a process.
Okay, awesome, thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
I got one more.
Sure. Mr. Parker.
over in eastern Oregon, they have a couple of lakes over there that have watercraft during the summertime. There's also a lot of fish there, but there's also an area that is cordoned off to where the motorized vehicles can't go. Okay, because of the fishing, the popularity of the fishing in that specific area of the lake. And my question is, did you guys ever think of maybe doing something like that, to having watercraft and motorized watercraft in a specific area of the lake as to not bother the fishermen?
Not necessarily specifically for the fishermen, but we did have conversations about, hey, should this half of the lake just be for, for motorboats? Really, it's not a metro, like, we can't say anything about that. How the lake is again, it's more of a Department of State lands or Marine Board and those type of things. And so in terms of cordoning off certain areas, I think in our conversations with the neighbors, they'd rather have manage that relationship together rather than just picking and saying, hey, you can only do this here. I'll be fair and honest, we didn't have a lot of in-depth conversations, I think, with maybe specifically like fishermen, anglers and things like that. I personally fish, I've not been very fortunate, not very lucky out of Blue Lake, but we find that most of the people that we're fishing are doing it early in the morning because it's such a wide open lake with like just a lot of sun on it. So the fish are hitting better in the morning, early in the morning, late in the evening, or closer to the banks where there's some of the deeper pockets. But needs to be something really interesting to bring up. We want to have one of those conversations about how to ensure that it can be a productive fishery as well as recreational space. And we've got good relationships now. I've always had it with OEF&W and the Marine Board, so happy to facilitate some more of those conversations. But in the end, trying to cordon off the lake because it's so small didn't seem like it was going to meet the needs of everyone.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else? Thank you for the presentation. I'm excited about this. The investment into East County, the investment into Blue Lake Park, and you are correct. For decades, it's been, if you have an event out there, which shelter do you go to? Because it's been very confusing, we were relying on the people that rent it to put out the signs to tell them where to go. And that always felt like a weak link. And it seems like you're addressing it. And if the rest of the park is done, as well as the new buildings, the refurbished workshop, the new office building, if they're to that level, I'm gonna be really excited to be there. Because those are very well-done structures. You've taken care, you're thinking forward too. So I do personally appreciate everything that you guys are doing in this park. I travel all over the metro area, and when I tell people I live in Fairview, they don't know where it is. I mentioned Blue Lake, they know exactly where that is. So the more you can do with this, the better off Fairview itself will be, and we appreciate that.
Thank you. Appreciate the support of you coming out and checking out the construction, how it's going on.
Oh, it's fun.
Buildings, facilities, and yeah, look forward to making some good progress.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming, appreciate it.
All right, next is the consent agenda. Has anybody have we had a chance to review the minutes and on everything in there? Entertain a motion.
Motion to adopt the December 17th, 2025 minutes.
Second.
Okay, do we want to do that, or do we want to just, usually just the whole consent agenda at once? We can just move to approve the whole consent agenda.
That's what I just said.
There it is.
And I seconded that.
Moving in there, but yes.
Okay, we have a motion and we have a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. And any opposed? All right, that passes. Council business, amend Fairview Municipal Chapter 19, 105. Will be Alex. There we go.
People think that public service is fun and exciting.
What's it like being on council? Well, you get to talk about sewer rates. Floodplain overlays.
Just before you get started, just to clarify, this is only for anything that's new, right?
Correct.
There we go, so.
Not a lot left, but let's go over it.
Yeah.
And while we're waiting, I do see some relief on Ann's face over there, and likely Nathan, when they maybe thought we were gonna go through this consent thing one at a time. You know, I kind of felt like there was a.
I want to thank the city recorder for her idea that we can just send her the.
We like that.
Yeah, and you want to know who runs this city.
Oh, we do. All right. Floodplain overlay code amendments.
Okay, good evening, councilors and Mr. Mayor. This is the first reading of ordinance 01-2026 for the floodplain overlay code amendment. This proposed text amendment is going to do three different things. It will replace the entirety of the existing floodplain overlay chapter within our municipal code with the 2020 Oregon Model Flood Hazard Management Ordinance. It will also adopt additional standards to comply with the pre-implementation compliance measures referred to as PICMs related to the Endangered Species Act. Lastly, it will amend the review procedures for development within the floodplain to implement Type 1, Type 2, and Type 3 procedures. These are the three different criteria points that are used in the text amendment. So some background on this. So the areas of special flood hazard, which are also referred to as the floodplain, are mapped by FEMA. Any development within that floodplain area is subject to receiving approval of a floodplain development permit from the city. That is something that is a Type 3 land use application and has to go in front of the city's planning commission. Fairview's regulated development of the floodplain since 1981. Most recently has been amended in 2019. Our floodplain code must meet or exceed the federal standards established by FEMA in order to remain eligible for the National Flood Insurance Program. So this is where these standards will apply. So you can see on this map here, there's two different colors. So the orange color is considered Zone X, which is a 0.2% annual chance of flood hazard. These standards do not apply in this area. There's a lot of Zone X throughout the city. These standards specifically apply to what is referred to as the A zones, which is a 1% annual chance of flood hazard. Like I mentioned earlier, this is only applicable to new developments. Most of the modern subdivisions have been, over the past few decades, have been built to where their layout pretty much goes completely around this zone AE because developing within the floodplain with construction standards is so much more intense. The developers are often designed their subdivisions specifically to avoid any sort of impact within the floodplain. The only real interaction that you have structures that are located within this zone AE is typically older structures that have been in place for decades, that have been in place for much longer than the city had any sort of floodplain code. The adoption of the 2020 Oregon Model Ordinance was last amended. We last amended our floodplain ordinance in 2018-2019 at the time to comply with FEMA regulations. The most recent version of this is from 2020, and it differs from our version only slightly language-wise. It's mostly having to do with the formatting of our floodplain code versus the formatting of how the state provides their floodplain model ordinance, but the contents are largely the same. By adopting the model ordinance and replacing ours with this version, makes it easier for staff to go forward with future FEMA-related requirements, because whenever FEMA publishes new rules that the state must follow, they upload them in their model ordinance format, and we felt it would be easier to have it match what the state provides. So anytime we have to update our floodplain code, we don't have to look through our individual code and kind of workshop where it's gonna fit best. And that way it just saves everybody a lot more time. And it's a lot easier to ask questions from the state about, you know, our code and compliance and stuff like that. So some of the summary of changes here, there's some addition of a few different words as far as converting residential and non-residential development for different buildings within the floodplain. There's some new standard for constructions of garages, tanks, and accessory structures within the floodplain. we've added, removed, or reworded to match some of the definitions in our code that were listed in FEMA's code, and we've also updated some of the permit submittal requirements that I'll go over. So some background on the pre-implementation compliance measures. This is something that FEMA is requiring of us to comply with. So a little bit of background on this. In 2009, a collection of environmental groups sued FEMA over not consulting with the National Marine Fisheries Service for violating the Endangered Species Act. The National Marine Fisheries Service has issued what they call a biological opinion, concluding that the National Flood Insurance Program did indeed threaten endangered species within Oregon. And fast forward to 2021, FEMA drafted a set of implementation plans in order to reduce the impact of development in the floodplain on endangered species. 2 years later, the same environmental groups filed a lawsuit against FEMA for being too slow to implement those changes. Therefore, we arrived in 2024 where FEMA required these interim pre-implementation measures in order to demonstrate that we're making progress towards being fully compliant. They are anticipating that by 2027 that the implementation measures will then become final, and these pre-measures they're hoping are going to be pretty much the same as what is the final version that we will see at some point next year. So additionally, FEMA gave us 3 different options to pick from out of these, the pick'ems. So the first option talked about using a specific model ordinance that they had provided that considered impacts to fish habitats and required mitigations to a no net loss standard. In conversation with our city attorney, this option actually went against state law for not providing clear and objective standards, so we were not recommended to go with option 1. Option 3 talks about just a blanket prohibition on any sort of development within the floodplain with no exceptions. We felt that that was too restrictive. So the remaining option was option 2, which is kind of a permit by permit basis, which talks about you have to submit to us a floodplain habitat assessment and mitigation guidance, as well as demonstrating a no net loss standard. And by that, we mean if you were to develop, say, 500 square feet within the floodplain, you would have to carve out another 500 square feet that wasn't previously floodplain and restore that same exact area to serve as the replacement for what you were impacting in the current floodplain. So it's kind of just about providing, once you develop something, that you're not decreasing the amount of floodplain on your property, and you have to, at a minimum, make it the exact same amount that you're impacting. So for the option 2, an applicant, we place the burden on the applicant to provide us with this habitat assessment. They have to certify that they've obtained the floodplain mitigation assessment to demonstrate how the development may achieve this no net loss of key floodplain functions, that the development's already covered by some other formal consultation with the National Marine Fisheries Services or the U.S. Fish and Wildlife. The development's already been addressed by an existing habitat assessment or the proposal's an accepted development type. The city doesn't need to actually evaluate whether there is no net loss. We just have to evaluate whether the applicant has been certified and they have this credentials that we require, that we just take a look at and let them know that they've met that standard. So in the chapter, we had to create a whole new section within our floodplain code, and that's kind of the only one that we had to add. The rest we were able to fit into our existing code lineup. This is specifically for the pick'em option, so it defines what the floodplain mitigation assessment is. It refers to this FEMA guide for preparing the assessment that goes over exactly what you need to submit to the city. It also defines what a qualified professional is, and it lists different types of development that are exempt from floodplain mitigation assessment. So any type of maintenance, landscaping, restoration, and utility work done within the floodplain is actually exempted from requiring to submit for the habitat assessment. So there's 4 points that the habitat assessment will need to provide. So first, they need to describe the project area, let us know where it is occurring, which lots are impacted, what the watershed is that they are going to be working on. They'll need to describe the habitat, so to be able to identify any what endangered species are within this water, what critical habitats are within this area, and identify any sort of conservation areas that are in or around the project area. Third, they'll need to describe the project. So describing what the final project is, what are we constructing, what construction processes are we doing, what are the measures taken to avoid, minimize, or compensate for degradation to those habitat functions. And lastly, to assess the environmental effects, so describe the nature, the scope, the duration of those effects that the development within the floodplain is going to have on the endangered species that could potentially be affected. And the last part of the amendments is amending our review procedures. So currently, like I had mentioned before, any type of development within the floodplain is a type 3 procedure that has to go in front of our planning commission, regardless of what you're developing on site. The proposed changes to this section will have the development type determines the review procedure. So development that doesn't require a land use decision and only a building permit would just be a type 1 floodplain permit. Whereas if you were to do something more major, like a large commercial or industrial building, that's still going to remain a type 3 site design review that still has to go in front of our planning commission. The best example I have of this, where this kind of came from, and this wasn't a FEMA required change, this was more of a staff level decision. So we had approved the Tesla chargers over at the Target parking lot. When the Target was built originally, they had raised and kind of leveled that lot outside of the floodplain, but they had never submitted a map to revise the floodplain once upon a time. So it still shows that the entire Target parking lot was within a floodplain. And so when doing the chargers, we realized that they still needed to apply for a floodplain overlay permit, even though it wasn't even something that we had a land use decision, they would just go straight to building permit. And they had to go through the public hearing process. It added, there's more money on it. It added a lot of time that we have to do our noticing requirements just for something as simple as installing chargers in an area that isn't technically a floodplain for all intents and purposes. It's a parking lot.
I gotta admit, you want to look at that because that's electricity and water.
Yeah, we had noticed that it kind of didn't make sense that it was still designated as a floodplain. It might have been once upon a time, but so this just kind of allows us to have some flexibility and give some extra time back to an applicant if the project isn't as intensive as it would require a public hearing for. The Planning Commission held a meeting on these amendments on December 9th and voted unanimously to recommend City Council adoption of these code amendments as presented. And the recommended action is to consider the Planning Commission's recommendation on this ordinance and provide any direction to staff on any questions or information that should be included for the second reading on January 21st. And that is all I have.
Okay. City Manager, is there something you wanted to bring up at this point, or was this old?
Actually, I requested it, the script is there, but because this is a first reading of an ordinance, we do need to read the ordinance by title.
Okay, could you go ahead and do that?
I would be happy to. Ordinance 1, 2026, an ordinance amending the City of Fairview Municipal Code, Chapter 19.105, floodplain overlay to adopt the 2020 Oregon Model Flood Hazard Management Ordinance and a pre-implementation compliance measure as required by FEMA.
I'm glad you read that and not me.
Yep.
Does council have any question for staff?
I know Chris Voss hasn't been here for a while, but do we have a current map of the floodplain for the city of Fairview?
Yeah, we do. We have, we use the mapping that FEMA provides us, and so they have a map that it covers the entire state as well as the county and the city as well.
So what you're saying is we don't currently just have a map of the city of Fairview?
Does our GIS have an overlay for flood?
Yes, we do.
Because I'd like to get a copy of that if we do.
Yes, and FEMA also has an interactive map tool online, and you can type in Fairview, you can type in your address, and it'll pop up the map, and you can download the map as well.
Okay.
Yeah, if you're interested, we can get a copy of it.
Yeah, I am interested. Could you please give me a copy? Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? With that, is there a desire to move forward to the second reading? Sounds like a yes. Okay. Then we will have then the second reading of the public hearing for this ordinance. Ordinance 1-2026 is scheduled for January 21st, 2026. Think everybody agree?
All right. And we'll make Alex read it all over.
Absolutely. But we'll unfortunately have to make Devery read that title over again, which I think is more cumbersome.
It is.
Thank you very much. I think we're good. We'll see you again later this month. Do we have any citizens wishing to comment on non-agenda items?
No.
Okay.
And before you adjourn, if you'd let me just click this off, so if Counselor Copeland
Yes.
out there.
I'd love to figure out a way to do these switches so she's not hopping.
Yeah, I know, I've actually got to, gotta be hotkeys or something.
There he is.
Hey, Paul.
Any questions, any issues, blazing concerns?
Negative.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Oh, no,
With
I
that
do have
riveting
one thing.
update- Pardon?
I do have one thing.
What's that?
Do it.
I motion to adjourn.
Excellent. We have a motion and a second from Councilor Owen. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you very much, folks.
Good job.
Well played, Paul, well played.
Good job.